All right. So I wanted to come on here just to give a quick message about divinity, and what I have seen by watching elders, what I've seen of watching elders not only older in age, but older in experience. One of the major lessons that I was learning for the past couple days was the how man cannot handle being God. Okay, and so if you outsource the power of God into man, you are literally luring them into corruption. Okay, now I know in other videos I've already explained that God is a consciousness. Okay, it's not really one of gender, but if we are going to be on the frequency of gender, it has to be feminine in completion. Okay. Um, and this is why when a man finds a woman, then they're a, they come together and make a spiritual body of God. Okay, creator, source. Okay, um, but man alone cannot be God. Um, it reminds me of this show called Claymore, which is an anime, which I was one of my favorite animes, where they were describing uh, hybrid people who had demon or demonic energy in them, and the men, they could not. They kept anytime they were introduced to the demon DNA, they actually became entirely demonic. They couldn't control the energy because it was too powerful. It felt too powerful for their genes to subdue. So the demonic energy gave people certain powers, right? The women on the other hand, they could humble themselves enough, and they were able to carry the demon DNA in order to have the power, but also come back to their humanity, right? They were able to subdue the demonic genetics and was able to be like work against the demons. They were able to use the power to also fight other demons, but also come back to being humane. Okay, um, women XX. Okay, so what it just reminded me of is the idea of being able to submit your ego, right? And for years or centuries, really, we've been making God a masculine entity, and this is why we've also in the hearts of man, they have positioned themselves to be the connector between women and God, when really women are the Holy Ghost. We are holy, right? We genetically are whole and sound. And so we're able to connect to God in a different way, i.e., Mary, right? We don't, it's not about placing man in between. Now, what has happened is a lot of women who've lost their divinity along the journeys of their life, they have placed man before God. And this is why you have to follow God, not man. Okay? And so doing so, they have disrupted their divinity. They've disrupted that connection between women and God. Okay? A lot of women do this with their sons, right? They place too much power. They outsource that power onto their sons, and they can't handle it. That's why the sons sometimes they get like annoyed with their mothers, or they don't see the divinity of women because women have given that power up. Okay, or if their mothers were not acting divinely for themselves as well, right? They sacrificed themselves in order to be with man. Okay, in any aspect of the word, would it be self-respect, whether it be giving in, I guess, to the idea of loneliness, or loving too much things of the flesh, lustful things, in order to just say they're in the presence of a man, and that they forget their Godhead. Okay, so the Bible has many truths, but it has to do with the way you perceive it. Okay, how is it that you perceive the information? And if you keep outsourcing God outside of yourself, or centralizing man, right? Centralizing man in your life, that you're forgetting the connection with God within yourself. Okay? Um, I am not against divine union between man and woman, meaning that they have overcome their their lower level natures, okay? Because they don't ever go away. Those energies never go away. Those lower level energies never go away. You just kind of learn to rise above it. I literally got that from a Doctor Strange um, conversation, right? Where the bald headed lady, I don't remember her name right now, where she said the thing where she was saying that we don't ever get rid of our demons, we just learn to live above them. Okay? That is divine connection. All right? So it's not about chastising. We all know we have a demonic side, we have a shadow side. However, you have to be able to switch over. Now, even in Claymore, the anime I was telling you about, which I highly recommend, uh, there's women who eventually give in to their demonic natures, right? And then the other Claymores have to slay that demon that she has become, right? And they're actually very powerful. So taking a feminine woman and making her demonic is also, it's still a higher level of energy. Okay. um so giving into lower level demonic natures, you literally transform into a demon. Okay. um but women have a great power to be humble, right? This is the only reason why this has been gone so long and why they're able to outsource and have God as the idea as a masculine energy their entire life is because of that humility. It was actually turned against you, okay? Being humble and submission. We submit to God, we do not submit to man. We submit to God, we do not submit to man, right? Submitting to man causes issues. Okay? So if you have a man in flesh, but he's operating in divinity, meaning connection to God, it doesn't even seem like submission. It seems like alignment, right? Because the contents of your heart will always going to be in your creations, no matter what stage of life you're in. And what starts happening is we start creating things with a lot of karmic energy, lower level energy, before we actually understood our divinity. And so that's always playing in the background and it's always growing, i.e., some of your children, some of our children, okay, are a result of when we were not operating in divinity. That does not mean that it's the end of the world. No, you have to pave the way and show them. Okay, that's still part of your responsibility as in teaching through your life. Okay. Um, Again, accountability is not equal to guilt, it's equal to change behavior. So once you learn the way, you're able to show them a different way. Okay, because they were just born into what we call sin, right? Sinning against God, meaning you were not operating in divinity, you were operating against yourself, created something in that frequency, and now that still frequency has the breath of life, and so it's growing and learning as well. So you show them the pathway forward. Okay, and yes, there's a village that's also there to help you, support you with that. Okay. um as you get around elders, you start seeing their demonic natures as well as their divinity, right? And then seeing them play back and forth with that. But they some things that they just haven't learned how to slade. Okay, so when they take their final breath, depending on what's contents of their heart, contents of their mind shows you'll be able to see where their soul's going, right? Um, Depending on how they think, depending on what's the contents within their heart, what things have they let go, what things have they forgiven for within themselves, were they able to transcend from their lower level nature to their higher level nature of understanding, connecting to God, consciousness, God. Okay. Now, when you have two beings, a man who understands that and he has already overcome his lower level demonic energy, um, and he has ascended, right, to his X chromosome, which is completion, meaning he has cultivated his divine femininity as well, and he's connected with a divine feminine woman who understands this of herself. They are now going to create high vibration creations. It means that they have already conquered certain things in their bloodline, conquered certain things of their nature in order to teach their now foundation of creation. Okay. um yeah. We were living in an inverted world where you centralize the men and they can't handle that power. It's too much. Right? And certain stages in their life, they should be learning, like willpower, doing the things that they say that they're going to do, divinity, right? Just like with women, we also have to overcome these things. But as we all know, women tend to mature faster than men because it could be a genetic thing, right? And not only that, but you're also watching your mother. You're watching the women who have come before me, the women in society that you're in, and you're choosing what consciousness you want to download, right? Based off, again, the contents of your heart, and your bloodline definitely plays a part in it, right? So you feel more of a connection with your mother because she's blood tied to you. But after you, as you're getting older and older, you start seeing things that you want and some things that you don't want. You actually become a big criticizer of her. And I guess during your teenage years, that becomes more of like a resentment thing. And as you get older and you start healing mother wounds, you start understanding that she had to live in order for you to live. Okay, and so she had to be whatever frequency she was at. You had to make a choice whether or not you want to continue this thing or you don't. You don't hold it against her because she gave you life, divinity. Okay, that was a connection with God. That's a whole. A lot of children do not get born. A lot of souls don't come through. Okay, so if you do come through, the best thing for you to do is to learn, watch, see, learn, and continue to grow in order for you to be the best possible person that you are without resentment. That's a part of your growth, is the forgiveness. Okay, and allow people to be who they are and whatever frequency they decide to be in, right? But once you gain the eyes to see and the ears to hear, you'll be able to see. You don't take it too personally. Shout out Miguel Ruiz. Okay, and then you just learn and you cultivate, look to see what it is, the things that you want in your world. Okay, um world. All right, and then you create your own chapter. Okay, the Bible is a living word. Okay, listen to your elders, pay attention. Okay, pay it. You have to pay attention. Like, you have to pay attention. You have to be present and pay attention to everything that people are saying, what, because it reveals what their consciousness is, even yourself. Okay, when you lay your head to rest and you think about your day and you think about things that maybe you said that did not feel aligned with your heart, okay, or was it coming from an egoic standpoint or a lack mentality? Right, that's the only time we start really solidifying back into protective security stuff, is because we feel insecure in certain areas. Okay, and it's always nice to reveal that in a safe environment around people that you actually trust. Okay, because there are demonic energies out there. There are people who are operating in frequencies of um lack, and so they want to snuff out that light at any chance that they get. Okay, and anything that feeds their ego or their shadow side, if they haven't known how to flip over, okay, into the lighter state of being, they can actually drag you down. Okay, especially if they're operating in elements of jealousy, lust, these energies, right? You become a vibrational match, and then, if you're not able to flip over when it's time to flip over, it's like, bang, you go in the opposite direction with them. Okay, so you have to keep your eyes and your ears sharp. Okay, there's no need to escape from your reality because you're actively creating it. Okay, um and then the humbleness, right? So when people are talking about women need to submit, yes, we submit to God. We submit to the alignment of our best possible versions of self. Okay, that has nothing to do with anybody around us, and that a lot of things were actually sent to distract us from that. Okay, um, you don't really need to recruit people into any religious standpoint. Really think about it, right? If you're moving divinely, right, that's already a point of magnetism, right? It's not our job to be in the um I want to say masculine role of seeking, going out, right? Some of these things come innately to us because we already dominated this energy of masculinity, divine masculinity, doing the things that we say we're going to do, having the willpower to get up and do like, these are divine masculine energy, that just kind of innately, we were younger, we were able to do this, right? Where men had to, like, take their time, learn. They were like in a baby stage, and then make it worse. They're born into a culture where they are centralized as if they're the gods. Those are problematic. Okay, because they're giving them a energy that they're not able to attain. It's more than just having discipline to get up and work out and take care of yourself. That's like the minimum stuff. Okay, the divinity is also understanding that there's another world, right? Another spiritual plane in which women tend to have a innate thing with. Okay, and I assume it's from genetics. I assume that. Um, this is why, again, a lot of churches, they feed off the energy of the women, okay, in order to attract more women. Okay, it's that's divine magnetism, and in order to keep that, and then turn that into like fiat money, in order for the church to grow, right? Meanwhile, there's a lot of things that are happening in the church that are spiritually unclean. Okay, spiritually unclean things, right? Where if there was a divine woman walking in her power and connection with God, she'd been like, that's not right, right? And then accordingly, she would remove herself, and so her light goes with her, and then that divine protection that was casted upon her head will not be now shed onto that entity anymore. You understand? Because the more you keep casting out your power, the more that whatever it is that you're casting your power to, they receive your blessings, things that are supposed to be bestowed onto your head. Okay, um, reserve that for people who are actually in alignment with divinity, with your mission, with your purpose. That's more important, right? Because that is the love. Women naturally are nurturers, just like Mother Earth, which means that um, we give without the energy of lack or thinking that you have to give back to us, because there are many children of God, right? And so if we give to you, we know we get better, we get replenished by a source that we don't have to rely on eyesight um, to solidify, right? We don't have to rely on that because we know we're going to be taken care of. We literally dump women in the wilderness and people are like, oh, they're going to die. Not if they're operating in divinity, not if they're divinely connected to Source God. Okay? No matter what an environment. I don't know if you ever went out somewhere and okay, this is why clubs want to have women in there, right? Because we attract men, and you may think it's just money. No, it's the energy of a woman, right? We also attract protection. If a woman loves you and you're out here in these streets, you are walking, or you're already up one, because now you are divinely protected by the love of God. Do you understand? So it's a whole nother energy, right? I know a lot of like the street guys, they'll get with a girl, right? And if she's operating her divinity, she can actually protect them both just by her presence. Okay. And then when she removes herself and you're out with the wolves, this is why you must pay attention to your wife, happy life. That these things are not like, this is stuff that been proven. Okay, I'm not saying anything new, so I don't even take credit for this stuff. This is just things that I've observed and came up with a conscious understanding for the vessel that is here, that's sharing with you. Okay, so for those who may not known that yet, okay, you must decentralize the men in your life. They can't handle the power of being God. They cannot. Okay, if they're claiming to be God and all this stuff, it has to do with ego, and it has to do with material gain in some kind of way. Okay, men do follow their purpose, and they can become masters, and that is a beautiful thing to witness. Okay, but to say that they are God, it would not make sense. Okay, everybody here on this earth of the human variety have come from a woman, the feminine. Okay, that's it. There's nothing more, nothing less, right? And as you're moving through life and you're aligning, you're increasing your divinity, right? You will then be attracted to divine women who you guys can come together and align together on principalities and powers in order to create. It's really that simple, right? So take care of your bodies, take care of yourselves, take care of your spiritual wealth, okay? And we can have Eden here back again, because the earth will restore herself. The earth will always restore herself, okay? Especially if she's divinely connected to God. There's nothing more, nothing less. Okay, the sons cannot, they can't handle all of this energy. They can't handle it, and they're not supposed to. Right? This is why they will surround themselves with women, hopefully good women, women who are connected to the divinity, in order to overcome a lot of different things here and to help guide understanding humbly, lest they become demons. Love is very important. Okay, love is a very strong frequency and vibration. So when you have women that love you, right, they want to see you do positive things because they have love for themselves and they want to see themselves do positive things. They attract more of that stuff. Okay, so as a woman, right, if you're in a state of lacking or thinking that you don't have or whatever the case may be, or people try to convince you that you're lonely, that's another thing. I heard it yesterday, right? And I will say this, right? You can't really be alone when you're moving in purpose, right? Because you understand there's moments of isolation and there's moments of alignment with others. And that is a nice vibration. But I don't love that more. We don't. We don't love that more than the divine assignment. Okay. Um, and as far as relationships with people, right? Everything needs the foundation of truth, period. Okay. Then we get into emotions and handling emotions because emotions can change, right? Emotions can evolve. Okay, but truth will always be there. There's nothing we can that's the strong foundation. Okay, and it will always rise to the top. All right, so as far as emotions go, right, what the love, which is an emotion which is also based in truth, okay, we're able to work out through the demonic energies, okay, or the energies that are bringing you backwards instead of moving you forward. Okay, so it may not be true. Whatever it is you're giving your emotional energy to may not be true. That's why it needs to be the foundation of what is real, what is real. Can we build a reality together? Okay. Um, and again, a lot of traumas, things that recycle itself that you may not be ready for. And I remember saying this to one of these friends that has helped me. Um, I remember the whole point of what I'm saying. Thank you. Well, the whole point of what I'm saying is that certain traumas, they could be cyclic, okay? And I remember saying that I recognized I was about to go into a tribulation, a trial period to test the contents of my heart, okay? And I remember realizing that whatever I was being presented with was triggering little Shamika who has built a defense system against certain situations. And I told her, I was like, I'm not ready for this right now. You're gonna be triggering me because I know this energy very well. My shadow is coming into the light, and I'm not sure how I will react. Right, high level of awareness, right? But God knew it was time. It was time to be presented with it to see if I would choose different. Okay, um, and I think I did fairly well. I did try, and no matter what, right, the trials are gonna come, and it's just you have to be present, right, and you have to remember the things that you've learned, like consciously, and then integrate them into your understanding, like interweave them into your life, okay, and yes, during your test, during your challenge, you may even realize that you're in the middle of the challenge, like, hold on, oh, we need to slow down the simulation because what the hell. Right? And so yes, and I know sometimes I do try to provide what I call cheat codes, right? Because I do notice people who have resonance with me, either I've gone through things that they have gone through and learned certain lessons, or I am about to go through things that I'm seeing them do. And so I take my notes, right? And so with that being said, remember everything is always divinely aligned, right? So nothing happens without just like randomness, right? What you need, the universe will provide in order to for you to prove your resonance, to prove your new frequency. Okay, to show your evolution as a soul being living this life. Okay, um, no longer operating from fear and anxiety. However, you will be triggered and you will be, there will be simulations put out there to show your progression. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, embrace those because you're going to get a realistic, the truth, by the way, right? You're going to get a truth assessment of yourself. All right? Okay, I think I'm done now.